Let's check out the secondary Holsum one. We got Trayton Bandy off to the NFL, but you bring back some pretty good talent, of course, with Al Blades and DJ Ivy at corner leading the way.
Oh, yes. Young men who we kind of throw them into the fire, proverbially speaking. And sometimes they rose to the top. Sometimes they sank. Sometimes they had some issues. The most consistent was Al Blades Jr. He's more of a zone corner. And whenever he got a chance to show up, he showed up. I mean, one of the ways against Virginia, right before halftime, a key turning point. I mean, they scored his touchdown. Maybe it's different. But it was a fade route, one-on-one with their number one wide receiver, about 6'4" guy. And this is the one time that eyes and hands plays well, the technique that they teach our corners at Miami. And the wide receiver goes, he waits for the ball to fall in his hands. Al Blades Jr. waits for it to touch the gloves and breaks it right out. I mean, he stays away from a PI. They were forced to kick a field goal, and we blocked it on the next play. And Al Blades Jr. made that play and stepped up in the red zone right before halftime. Big play. Al Blades Jr. is a legacy player. Yes, if the Blades last name, you have Benny Blades, his father, Al, who played here. And Blades is a legacy guy who's shown up, stepped in the paint, and had an opportunity. I think he's going to take another step here and be our number one corner going into this upcoming season. Behind him, DJ Ivy on the opposite side. A little bit more athletic out of the two. Had some up and down at the beginning of the season. Then he went on a 3-game stretch versus Pittsburgh, versus Tallahassee, where he did really well. Ended up with 3 interceptions in that 3-game stretch. And you do anything good against Tallahassee, and I love you. You're one of my guys. So when it comes to DJ Ivy, I'm excited to see him take that next step too. We actually did some really good recruiting size-wise. We have 4 6-foot-plus corners for the first time ever. You have Isaiah Dunson, who's 6'2", 190 pounds coming in, part of that 2020 recruiting class, also from Georgia. You have Christian Williams from the 2019 recruiting class, who could have either went to LSU or Bama and chose Miami over the two. Now, whether you say we won that recruiting class, that recruiting battle or not, either way, he's a Miami Hurricane. He had the ability to go to those schools, and he came to Miami. So he flashed a little bit this past season, has some opportunities to get on the field. But this year, coming up in 2020, is when we're going to need him to take that next step. Nickel corner, you might ask. Got some depth there, too. You have Corey Couch, who's a redshirt freshman, and you have Marcus Clark from Orlando Park, Florida, who is going to come in as a special teams ace, punt and kick returner, and a nickel corner for us also. So we got 6 corners. We got 4 boundary corners, and we got 2 nickel corners. And I'm excited to see what the DBs are going to do, man. It's time to take that next step. You got depth, you have the athleticism, you have the size. Let's start making plays.
Yeah, and talking about the DBs and going to the safety position, obviously Gervin Hall comes back with the most tackles on the team as a returning player, and Amari Carter's back.
Amari Carter, the headhunter. Gervin Hall is kind of the nice mixture. He can cover and he can hit also. He's daunting the beautiful 26. I mean, I do think that the number should be retired, but either way, he's doing a good job with it on and doing very, very well for the Miami Hurricanes. But of those two, you also have Bubba Bolden, nicknamed by me Light Skin Warrior. That's what everybody messes with me about calling him, but I went with it and I kept it. He dodged the 21 for us. 6'3", 200-pound guy. He can fly, he can cover, he can hit also. You know, he can play strong safety. He can play some striker. I think he does his best at free safety, though. You know, Gervin Hall, to me, can play free or strong. I think he does his best at strong. Amari Carter is a downhill thumper. He's also a strong safety, too. So it's good to have interchangeable safeties to where you don't know what coverage we're in because we can rock and roll with either one of them because they can play high or they can play in the alley flats with no problem. They can all open field tackle. They can all catch. And Amari Carter, somebody who gets a bad flack as a dirty player because he's had a couple targeting calls. He's just old school. You know, it's something about having that old school thumper roaming over the top, ready to knock your teeth out if he has to. But he can also catch the ball too. And Gervin Hall and Bubba Bolden have knacks for being around the football. You know, whether it's, DJ Ivy was swatting a pass against Tallahassee and Bubba Bolden just like happened to be coming down in cover 3, so he just slides and catches the ball. Now, unfortunately, he did have a season-ending injury after that. Gervin Hall, to where it was cover 2, and Bubba Bolden was the hole player, and he was able to pop the wide receiver, and the ball pops up, and Gervin Hall dives and catches the ball. I mean, they just had a knack for being around the football in the secondary, especially at safety this year. That's the one position, Mark, not worried about. Any combination of the 3 on the football field, I'm happy with, whether it's Amari Carter, whether it's Amari Carter and Gervin Hall, Bubba Bolden, Amari Carter. Either way, I'm excited about the safety combination at Miami. Now, behind those 3, you kind of have a lot of youngsters. You have Jalen Harold coming in as a 4-star recruit safety. You have Brian Balaam from Miramar, Florida, Broward County, stand up. He's coming in as a 3-star recruit. And you also have Avante Williams, the number 1 or number 2 safety in the country, no matter what consensus you're looking at. He's a top 2 safety in the country, can play free, can play strong, just a playmaker, regardless of where we're looking at. And he's somebody that's going to come in and really vie for some playing time. We also have Keyshawn Washington. Keyshawn Smith is the wide receiver. Keyshawn Washington is the safety from South Dade. So behind those 3, in Amari Carter, Gervin Hall, and Bubba Bolden, you have 4 incoming freshmen. Keyshawn Washington, of the 4, was able to early enrollee, so he's already been on campus for spring ball. We're excited to see what he's going to take that next step too, man. But safety, I think we're going to do really well at safety at Miami for years to come.